Hi, I'm Kevin, and I'm at Ed Erb's Coleman Museum in Walnut Creek, Ohio, and we're here to learn some stuff about Coleman irons. The Coleman Company has been making products for just more than 100 years. The company is famous for camping supplies, but did a whole lot more. Kate and I went to celebrate that company at the Erb Coleman Museum in Sugar Creek, Ohio. We talked to the founder, Ed Erb, who will not pose in front of a camera because he is Amish, and thus chooses to be removed from all that. Did you know that Coleman at one time made mini scooters? Here is one of these, quite rare. They also made the burner and tank for a washing machine. Coleman is particularly famous for lanterns, and then in World War II and afterwards, camping supplies, now better known for tents and canopies. And also irons. The history is international. Cole made irons in Wichita, Kansas from 1922 to 1962, and in Toronto, Canada from 1921 to 1983, and these were exported worldwide. This poster is from Australia. There is a Coleman Collectors Club, and for the annual meeting, people might come from as far away as Japan. Coleman began his iron making starting with incandescent lights and supply company in Wichita. The main patent was this one by Hans C. Hansen in 1912. The Coleman Company initially used products from the American Gas Machine Company of Albert Lea, Minnesota, which had a side tank. The iron is pretty common in American Gas Machine markings, but keep an eye out for one of these in Coleman markings as the Coleman collectors seek these. Some early irons marked Coleman were made by the Monitor Satiron Company of Big Prairie, Ohio, and we have done a video on that company and have started some of those irons. Here is a Model 2 made 1925 to 1927. This is chrome only, tank in front, much like the Monitor products, and note also that this has the Monitor tank with squared edges. This is the Coleman Model 3, made in 1927 to 1928. Similar to the Model 2, but the tank is in the rear and narrowed, much like the Royal irons, and perhaps also made by Monitor. There is a lighting cutout on the left side, though not so obvious in this picture. Perhaps the most common Coleman irons are the Models 4 and 4A, made starting in 1929 in both the US and in Canada. The American irons are almost always in light blue color, while the Canadian irons came in various colors, including blue, red, green, and ivory. The Model 4 had a lighting cutout on the left, like the Model 3 in the previous picture. But the Model 4A had the cutout moved to the right. Here's a better picture of that cutout on a black iron. The problem, to me at least, is that for any general statement that one can make for a Coleman model, there are exceptions. This is the Model 5, green base, narrow tank, cutout and left. This might be an early Model 5, note the unmarked stand, but despite the green color, this was made in the USA, so again, the exception to the various colors made in Canada only rule. Again, many variants that are perhaps less important to the general iron collector, but quite important and valuable to the Coleman collector. This is a Model 609. These are usually painted black with a molded, not wood, Bakelite handle with a streamlined shape and built-in thumb rest. These plainly show the influences from contemporary electric irons. The Model 609 was made in Wichita in 1938 to 1940 and had a filler cap that was mounted in the center top of the tank. The Model 609A had the filler cap mounted further back. Again, there are variations. Coleman apparently sometimes mixed and matched the parts. Of course, there might have been some mixing by the owners as well. Note that this particular example has a chrome-plated tank. There were a variety of later models. Keep in mind that production continued until 1962 in the US and 1983 in Canada. These models include the 8, 8A, 10, 11, and 12. This is a Model 8A good value iron. There seems to be a trend towards cheaper construction, plain metal, or painted silver colors that replace the beautiful enamels of the earlier models, I think in order to decrease the price and remain competitive. Here is a Model 12, also good value. Here, according to Ed, is the last model made in Canada, the 615, manufactured 1970 to 1983, with a blue rear tank that is essentially integrated into the back of the handle, probably an effort to make the iron look more modern. This is the only Coleman iron that burned kerosene, and I wonder if this was marketed to more rural areas. And there were Coleman electric irons. These are some in original boxes. These were apparently made circa 1930 to 1941. I have record of models 36, 37, 39, and 40. Here is one of these. I am not sure of the model number. And here is another view that shows these to have a thermostat. Here is a display unit for the Coleman Electrics. This is quite rare. And here are electric models 36, 37, and 40 from left to right. My guess is that these are much more widely collected by Coleman collectors than they would be by iron collectors. Most iron collectors do not focus on the electrics, and if they do, the concentration is usually on the very early, let's say pre-1920 electric irons. This is a 1930 advertisement. It looks like the electrics were sold up to World War II. After the war, Coleman focused on the liquid fuel irons, and during World War II, Coleman stoves were a regular part of the GI kit. It probably included many of the GI backpacks, and with that developed, they then related that to camping equipment in the United States afterwards.